Hey everyone, ready to kind of level up your love life? We're going deep on some advice from Relationship Reset that might help with that.
What's really cool about this deep dive is how it goes beyond just like the typical relationship advice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like it's not just like communicate more, it actually digs into the how-to, which I think is super helpful.
totally. Like take communication. They talk about active listening.
Yeah, active listening. That's huge.
It is. It's more than just like hearing what your partner is saying,
You're not like really understanding.
Exactly. And feeling heard and understood, like really getting what they're trying to say.
Because otherwise it's so easy to just be thinking about like your response.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Like you're not really present in the conversation.
Right, right. And it can make your partner feel like you're not really listening.
Yeah, when you feel listened to, you feel respected, you feel valued, which is like the foundation of a good relationship.
Absolutely. And then Relationship Reset also gets into uh, emotional intelligence.
Oh yeah, emotional intelligence is key,
Yeah.
especially when you're talking about communication.
Like how to express your feelings without blaming your partner,
Right, without making them feel attacked.
which can be tough. Like I know I've definitely struggled with that.
It's about owning your emotions and using I statements instead of you statements.
Oh, like I feel hurt when this happens instead of you always do this.
Exactly. Because when you use you statements, it can just shut the whole conversation down.
Yeah, totally. It's
Yeah.
like you're putting them on the defensive right away.
And that doesn't help anyone.
Nope. So creating that safe space for communication is so important.
It is. It really helps build trust.
Which, speaking of, that's another big takeaway from Relationship Reset.
Trust, oh yeah, it's the foundation of a healthy relationship.
And it's more than just like being faithful.
Way more. It's about feeling secure enough to be yourself, like your true self, without fear of judgment.
Yeah, like knowing that your partner has your back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that you can like weather any storm together.
And Relationship Reset actually recommends doing regular check-ins with your partner to help build trust.
Oh yeah, I love that. Just asking simple questions like, how are we doing?
Yeah, or is there anything on your mind?
It can really open up some really great conversations,
Totally. And it can prevent small issues from turning into big ones.
which is like key.
Okay, so moving on to something a little more fun, keeping the romance alive.
Ah, yes. The romance.
Relationship Reset makes it clear that, like, passion doesn't just stay strong forever on its own.
Unfortunately, yeah.
It would be nice, though, right?
Oh, it would. But yeah, it takes effort.
It does. And they make a really good point about how those small, meaningful gestures actually can be even more impactful than those big, like, over-the-top romantic gestures.
Totally. It's about being intentional and present in the relationship.
Right. Like sending a sweet text during the day or planning a little surprise date.
Or even just holding hands or giving hugs.
Yeah, those little things add up.
They do. And they show your partner that you're thinking about them and that you care.
Absolutely. And it's something you can do no matter how long you've been together.
Exactly. It's never too late to start.
Okay, now let's talk about the not so fun part.
Oh, the conflict.
Yeah, conflict. They acknowledge in Relationship Reset that disagreements, like they're just a natural part of being in a relationship.
They are. But it's how you handle them that really matters.
And that's where a shift in perspective can be so helpful.
Like, instead of trying to win an argument, trying to understand your partner's viewpoint.
Right. Remember, you're on the same team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they give this one piece of advice that I think is so important.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Never say anything in anger that you wouldn't say with a clear mind.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It is. Because words said in the heat of the moment, they can really hurt.
They can. And sometimes taking a break from the argument can be the best thing to do.
Just like giving each other some space to cool down.
Right. And then coming back to it when you're both feeling calmer.
Exactly. So just to recap, so far we've covered communication, trust, keeping the romance alive, and conflict resolution.
Those are like the 4 pillars of a healthy relationship, according to Relationship Reset.
And what's so interesting is how interconnected they all are.
Right. Like good communication leads to trust, which leads to deeper intimacy, which helps you handle conflict better.
It's like this beautiful cycle.
It is, but it does take effort to keep that cycle going.
It does, but the rewards are so worth it.
Absolutely.
You know, one thing that really jumped out at me from Relationship Reset was this whole concept of love languages. Have you heard about that?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's the idea that we all, like, give and receive love in different ways.
Exactly. Like some people feel most loved when you do things for them.
Acts of service.
Yeah, acts of service. While others might like really value quality time.
Or words of affirmation.
Right. And Relationship Reset suggests that like taking the time to actually learn your partner's love language is like a total game changer.
Oh, totally. You can, like, show them you love them in a way that they'll actually appreciate.
Exactly. Otherwise, you might be putting in all this effort, but it's not really hitting the mark.
Yeah, you're not speaking their language.
Right. So, for example, like if your partner's love language is quality time and you're always busy with work, they might start feeling neglected, even if you're like buying them gifts all the time.
Yeah, it's not about the intention, it's about the impact.
Exactly. And Relationship Reset gives some really good tips for like figuring out your partner's love language.
Like what?
Well, you can pay attention to how they express love to you, or just like have an open conversation about it.
Just ask.
Yeah, just ask. It's really that simple.
Communication is key, right?
Always.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing they talk about is creating rituals of connection.
Rituals of connection.
Yeah, like how often do you and your partner actually set aside time just for each other?
That's a good question. It can be tough, especially when life gets busy.
It can. But that's why these rituals are so important.
Okay, so like what kind of rituals are we talking about?
It can be anything, like having coffee together every morning
Oh, I like that.
or taking a walk after dinner.
Just something simple.
Yeah. The key is to like make it a regular part of your routine.
So you don't like let it slip through the cracks.
Exactly. And those little moments of connection, they really add up.
It's like you're being intentional about spending time together.
Exactly. And that can really help strengthen your bond and, keep that spark alive.
Speaking of keeping the spark alive, Relationship Reset has a lot to say about intimacy in long-term relationships.
Oh, yeah. They really debunk the myth that intimacy just fades over time.
Because it doesn't have to.
It doesn't. It evolves.
Right, it changes.
And they talk about how important it is to like keep things fresh and exciting.
Okay, so how do you do that?
Well, they suggest like trying new things together.
Like what?
Anything. New hobbies, new activities.
Travel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Travel to new places. It's all about creating those shared experiences.
I remember a few years ago, my partner and I went on this trip, and we were both a little nervous because it was so different from what we usually do.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be amazing, like one of the most romantic trips we've ever taken.
See, it's those adventures, those new experiences, they can really bring you closer.
And create lasting memories.
Exactly. Now, another thing Relationship Reset talks about is prioritizing your own well-being.
Like as individual.
Yeah, because you can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Makes sense.
If you're not taking care of yourself, it's going to be hard to take care of your relationship.
So self-care is important.
It's crucial. And that includes, like, pursuing your own passions.
Even if your partner is not into them.
Yeah. It's not selfish at all. Actually, it can make your relationship stronger. Well, when you're feeling happy and fulfilled as an individual, you bring that positive energy into the relationship.
And it prevents you from becoming, like, too dependent on your partner.
Exactly. You're each responsible for your own happiness.
And that creates a more balanced dynamic.
Right. Okay, so we've talked about communication, trust, keeping the romance alive, conflict resolution. Relationship Reset also talks about like external challenges.
Oh, like stuff that happens outside the relationship.
Yeah, like financial stress, dealing with blended families, even long distance.
Life can be tough.
It can. And they really emphasize how important it is to communicate openly during those tough times.
To lean on each other.
Exactly. To work together to find solutions.
And they also suggest seeking professional help if needed.
Absolutely. There's no shame in going to therapy.
Sometimes an outside perspective can be really helpful.
It can. And Relationship Reset really stresses the importance of having a growth mindset.
Like seeing challenges as opportunities.
Yeah. Like instead of thinking that a challenge means the relationship is over, you see it as a chance to grow stronger together.
To learn from it.
Exactly. It's all about approaching those challenges with a spirit of collaboration.
So we've covered a lot in this deep dive. Love languages, rituals of connection, navigating external challenges.
The main takeaway for me is that building a healthy relationship, it's a journey, not a destination.
It's ongoing,
It is. It takes effort. It takes commitment. It takes a willingness to grow.
but it's so worth it.
Absolutely. Especially when you're on that journey with someone you love.
So as we kind of wrap up our deep dive into relationship reset, I'm curious what stood out most to you from all this advice.
I think what really resonated with me was this emphasis on intentionality. Like relationships don't just, magically happen.
Right, they take work.
Yeah, they take effort and a commitment to showing up for each other even when things get tough.
And it's so easy to just kind of slip into autopilot, especially when you've been with someone for a while.
Well, totally. Yeah. But relationship reset reminds us that we have a choice.
Yeah.
We do.
In how we show up.
Exactly. And making that conscious choice to prioritize the relationship can make all the difference.
It really can. And relationship reset also talks about celebrating each other's successes.
Yes.
It's so easy to focus on the negative or just get caught up in the day-to-day stuff.
It is.
Right.
But taking the time to acknowledge and appreciate each other's accomplishments can be so powerful.
It really can. Like, you're each other's biggest cheerleaders.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it creates this sense of shared joy,
It does, and it reminds you why you're together in the first place.
Oh, for sure. And another thing that I thought was really important was the emphasis on forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no relationship is perfect.
Yeah.
We all make mistakes.
We do.
And it's so important to be able to extend grace and forgiveness to each other when those mistakes happen.
Because holding on to grudges or resentment, that just doesn't help anyone.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It just creates this negative energy that can really poison the relationship.
Forgiveness is so key.
It is. It's a gift that you give to yourself as much as to your partner.
It really is. And Relationship Reset gives some really good advice on how to practice forgiveness.
Oh, yeah. Like taking the time to understand your partner's perspective.
Be communicating your feelings in a healthy way.
And making a conscious decision to let go of the hurt.
It's not always easy, but it's so worth it.
It is. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I hope you feel inspired to invest in your relationships.
Yes, whether it's with a romantic partner, a family member, a friend,
It's those small everyday actions that really make the biggest difference.
a listening ear, a kind word, a gesture of appreciation.
Those are the building blocks of strong and lasting connections.
So think about it. What small gesture can you offer someone you care about today?
Maybe a phone call to a friend you haven't talked to in a while.
Or a heartfelt note to your partner?
These little acts of kindness, they can really make a difference.
They can.
Mm-hmm.
And they can create a ripple effect of love and connection.
Exactly.
Well, that's it for our deep dive into Relationship Reset. Thanks for joining us. We hope you learned something that you can apply to your own life and build even stronger and happier relationships.